to cover up your lies. You put a poison in my neighborhood to capture the wicked mind. Quick money, short lives, and even prison time. You created a disease that is no doubt man-made. Acquired immune deficiency syndrome is the disease called AIDS. You created the numbers in plastic that generate a lot of bills. You got me spending my money on bunnies and Santas that ain't even real. If you are white, don't cringe or feel misplaced. You see, the you in this form can look like any face. If you are black, try not to smile too long. You see, we continue to blame other people, yet we ourselves can't get along. If by now you feel a little nervous or somewhat queasy inside, maybe you're the you in this poem. How long will you hide? Come on. It is my honor to be your guest keynote speaker for tonight's event. I would like to thank Mr. Harris, our principal at Hampton Prep, along with Mr. Wilson, for extending me the invitation. The poem that I just read for you is entitled, Are You to Blame? It was from my first published book back in 1994. And the reason why I chose this particular poem, it goes in line with what our theme, because it speaks to some of the injustices that we as a nation, we as a community, we as families suffer on a daily basis. Now, I'm old school, and before I can continue to speak, there's an old African adage that says, before the young can speak, they must first have permission from the elders. I am almost 44 years of age. If there is an elder present that is older than I, if you would grant me permission to speak by saying, you may.
You may.
You see, it's one thing for us to tell young people about respect, but it's a whole different ball game when that respect is actually demonstrated. But let me also add that there's a disclaimer to granting me permission to speak. If there's anything that I say in my speech that you don't like or you disagree with, don't come see me afterwards, because you must understand it is the elders that granted me permission to speak, so you must see them and not I. Check, check. All right. In keeping with tonight's theme, the time is always right to do what is right. As we come off the heels of celebrating the birth and the legacy, the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we put before the young scholars here at Hampton Prep the charge, the challenge, the mandate to do the right thing no matter what the situation may be. So let's break this down. If we're talking about time, what we're talking about is right now. We're talking about the present. We're not talking about tomorrow. We're not talking about yesterday. We're telling you and we're asking you young people that now, right now in the present, it's time for you to take your right in history. It's time for you to step up and do the right thing. Just as Martin Luther King Jr. wrote it from the letter from the Birmingham jail, it was never a good time not to do what was right. Just imagine, if you will, during the 1950s, the 1960s, the latter parts of his life. He had to sit in, he had to march, he had to be stabbed, he had to go to jail, he had to do all these things in spite of white America disagreeing, and even some of black America disagreeing with his tactics. So imagine if one man could say that now is the time to do the right thing in spite of my house being burned, in spite of me being stabbed, in spite of me having to sit in and march. Imagine if one man during this era endured all that. Imagine what we can do. Fast forward to 2013. Young people, you have absolutely no excuse not to do the right thing. But the question is, do we know what the right thing is to do? I'm going to give you three. I'm going to take my seats. Number one, the right thing is for you to continuously seek knowledge. The highest, greatest, and the best form of education is self-knowledge. Let me say that again. The highest, the greatest, and the best form of education is self-knowledge. It's not what you're going to get in the walls of Hampton Prep or or any other school. It's the understanding that you have of yourself as an African child, as a Latino child, as a Caucasian child. It's about understanding who you are, not from 1619 when the slave ships came over, but back when Nia Maat Khepera ruled, back when Imhotep, who founded modern medicine and who was an engineer. It's about understanding the legacy of your people who came before you, who built the pyramids, Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure. It's about having that understanding of yourself so that when you walk into a school, you walk into a college, you walk into a job, you understand the foundation from which you came. Self-knowledge is your greatest form of education. Number two, it's about being able to acquire knowledge. You see, the message when I was in school, and I'm certain for many of you, was to go to school to get a good education so that you can get a good job with benefits. Our message to young people today needs to be go to school to acquire knowledge so that you can own your own business. See, look at it like this. There's Felix Jones, who's the running back for the Dallas Cowboys, and then there's Jerry Jones. Who do you think makes the most money? Felix Jones, he gets paid $1 million, $2 million, but watch this. Jerry Jones makes $1 million a week on tickets, on parking, on paraphernalia, on endorsements and commercials. And so what we now need to do, parents and teachers, we need to teach our scholars, our children, from a mindset of you need to be the employer and not the employee. Yeah, now is the time. This message is twofold. It's not just for the scholars, but it's for all those who are present. It's a message for us to step up, number one, to understand ourselves in terms of our own self-knowledge. Number two, it's about acquiring information. I'm talking about going hard in the classroom. Just like when you're on the court, Hampton Prep girls just won the regional competition. There's never a time when they took off. You always go hard. That's what we need for you to do, young people. We need for you to go hard when it's time to step up and do the right thing. And then number three, when you leave this place, be able to share with your friends, your peers. Be able to step up and do what's different. Let me tell you a story, and I've told many of the scholars here when I sub here. My name is Nia Maat Khepera. My birth name was Tammy Louise Atkins. Prior to the birth of my 13-year-old son, my husband and I decided not to change our names, but to restore our names. I tell people all the time, I'm not a Muslim, I hadn't committed a crime, and I don't have bad credit, because everybody won't know why black folks change your name. I took on the name Nia. It's the fifth principle of Kwanzaa. It means purpose, but the name Nia means one created with a great purpose. That means part of my legacy is that I have to live out the true meaning of my name. My middle name is Ma'at. It comes from the 10th commandment. It represents truth, justice, righteousness, order, balance, reciprocity, and love. That means when I engage you, you should see those principles in me. And then Khepera means the power to create. Remember I told you about self-knowledge? I understand who I am. I can roll up in any environment, whether it's on the basketball court or in the classroom, and I can be comfortable in terms of who I am. The time is right. Watch this. Did people I graduated from high school and college like, what are you doing? Why you changed your name? It was different. It was uncomfortable. They didn't understand. Same was true with Dr. King. It was different. They didn't understand. He had haters. You will too. And so when you decide in your mind is that I'm going hard in the paint for what is right, I'm going to step up to the plate and take my right in history. This is what we need for you to do. And as you leave here today, you pass on what you have learned from the other scholars that you will hear tonight. The time is always right to do the right thing. There's never a time when it's not right to do the right thing, no matter what happened. Reflect and remember Dr. King. He sat, he marched. They threatened his family. You don't have to endure that. Yours is more systematic and institutional. We need for you to stand up and take your rightful place in history. And so I close with a poem that I close with young people all the time, and it's called I Believe in Me, and it goes like this. I believe in me. I believe in me, for the gift of life has been given. The blood, the beat, the breath flows, thumps, and sighs like raging waters. I refuse to give up because I believe in me. For the Lord has blessed me with this day. Each second ticks with a candid cry. Each minute rolls with voices unheard. Each hour longs in painful desperation. For this day I do live because tomorrow is yet unseen. I determine my tomorrow only if tomorrow lives in me. Go forth, conquer fears unknown, for I know not what lies ahead, but I believe in me. Even when obstacles come my way, I believe in me. Even when people give up on me, I believe in me. From the depths of my essence to the soul that lives inside, for the path that lies ahead. On this day will I move one step closer, because I believe not only in me, but also in each one of you. Thank you, and God bless.